What are we up to? Haha! At last! Moving into the studio. Welcome to the new Common Farm Flowers Hub. Right, we are absolutely not finished, but look, there's a beautiful moth on the wall. What kind of moth? Fabrizio, what kind of moth is this?
I think it's a magpie, but I don't know.
A magpie moth. It's a bit squashed, but isn't that beautiful against the terracotta?
It's not a squash, it just lies flat.
No, it's got a bashed wing. Well, here's a bit of gritty realism. Do you remember my shelfie? It's gone. The studio has moved up the field. This room looks like an actual bomb has gone off in it. We're in the process of moving everything, but we're getting there. So welcome to the channel. At last, we have the big reveal. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, press the bell icon, and I'll tell you when we've got more clips coming up. And if any of the tips and tricks we give you along the way are useful, you can always buy me a coffee, or better still, join my club. Club members get early access to all the clips, usually a fair bit extra, lovely live sessions regularly during term times, and no ads. A discount on everything on the website, and lots of things. Anyway, come along, let's go and have a look at the new studio. So this is my commute these days. You see the red building in the distance? There's my finger there. That is the new studio. So for the first time in 15 years, my commute, I have a commute. Instead of just falling out of bed and into the studio, which I have to share with my family and the bicycles and Fabrizio's woodworking stuff and the art department and, you know, all the things that everybody else does. That's the wildflower meadow through there. This is now my commute. And so it's going to take me a whole, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes to walk across here. And you have to forgive the mess because we are very much mid-move, but I appreciate people really wanted to see it. So here, actually it does look great, doesn't it? Here is the new studio. And what it was a falling down. We still, I imagine when I'm 100, we'll be calling it the falling down house. So it was a falling down half-built barn, which had been here for about 40 years. And we've been here for 20 years. So so it's 40 years old. It never had planning permission. And we eventually got permission to convert it from being a falling down heap to a flower farming. It's sort of the hub now for my business. And as you can see, it's by no means finished, lots to do, but it's ready for moving in. I love this. This is like a Scottish situtery. It even has deer horns. And it's shady. This faces east, so I can have my flowers will be shady here. Look at all the mess that I've got to sort out and move in slowly. And the idea is to be very organized and not have everything. So bit less stuff. But I'm working it out. I'm not taking everything in one go. I'm taking it in slowly. And never go anywhere without a garden trolley. And then here is the studio space. It's about half the size of my old studio. It's 8 meters by 8 meters, so it's exactly square. And that's got a little loo in there. Very important that everything, and the reason there's something over the loo seat is to remind us not to use it because the water is not yet working. And we will have a ramp coming in and out because it's very important to have disabled access. There's the old sink from the old studio. And things like this bit of slate. We've been here for 20 years, so there's a lot of stuff that's been lying around for years that's been used. So again, this bit of stone has been lying around. The slate was lying around. Fabrizio's a bit of a magpie, so he finds things. This is the Nice, but it's only mud. That's my studio sink from the old studio. And I've brought up the ribbon dispenser and the cellophane and paper dispensers are here. All the old shelves have come off the wall and Fabrizio is in the process of putting these up. So the reason the vases are along the windowsill is because I'm waiting for the shelf to be attached to the wall. I've sort of made it so that it's like a galley kitchen almost. So I've got the sink on the left and the table on the right to work at. I've left one of the big tables back in the old studio. I didn't need so much space. This is much lower ceiling, so it won't be so cold in the winter. This basically fits me. This will be my filming place where I will do, and I kept the walls a sort of soft pink. This is unfinished plaster. I love that colour. And I think against it, if you look at the sweet peas against it, it's very soft colour for flowers to be seen against it. And we'll see, if you put the camera, come on, stand here. If I put the camera back here, then you don't have to have the windows, but you get that lovely, it's a nice warm light. So I think it's a good place for filming. But then we've got these narrow windows, they face south. These are the original windows that were in the falling down building. They face south, so I didn't make them big windows because I don't want hot. But also we've got this hedge, which keeps it cool in here. And then facing west, we have the view out and still not finished the parking area. But there, so you can see how this is now in the middle of the flower farm. So that's the patch you're looking at is where the roses, shrubs and perennials are. And so this needs finishing, obviously. But there's parking for students and delivery people and the business. And then part of the shelfie that used to be behind me has come up here. That's the Wi-Fi there. That is bouncing back to the house. And then there was room, so these are all ready to go upstairs. Room for storage upstairs. So we've got a sort of super narrow, tiny little staircase. And this, I love this. This is so that in the winter I can keep the heat downstairs by shutting this door. And then above is a flap that can flap down, and that will seal the space to keep the warm downstairs, so that the dahlia tubers, which will be upstairs, up here in the storage space, don't get too hot. Yes, so you get a better view when I'm sort of standing at the bottom of the stairs. You can see how it all pans out. It is about half the size of my old studio, which is good because I'm only 5'2", and the old studio was very large and everybody used to just steal space from me. Whereas this, I lock it up at the end of the day. And if I leave it in a big mess, then that's my problem. But if I come back in the morning and I've left it like this, this is what it'll look like when I come back in the morning. Exciting, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to go and cut a bouquet. I've got some work to do, it being, a flower farm. So you have to do everything at the same time. I've been thinking about making a clip about what kind of flower farmer you can choose to be. And what's really interesting this year is I'm watching, we all keep an eye on what our colleagues are doing, and I'm watching the business of flower farming in an artisan way evolve in immensely, it's suddenly kind of stepping through a door of success in that the quality of the flowers are very high. Suddenly people are growing enough to do proper wholesale. So we've still got lots of small artisan businesses, but people are becoming much more specialist. They're dealing with their local supply chain in such a way that it works for florists, it works for the growers. The chain is providing that infrastructure to make it so that people can concentrate on parts of the business that make them very good at what they do. And so that's going to be a clip I'm going to make in a week or so about, because I think it's really, really interesting. We really are stepping through a door as maintaining our artisan roots, but being allowed to be much more streamlined businesses. Anyway, so that's a whole nother business. Me, still being the fiddly person I am, I have to go and cut a bouquet. So I'll cut the bouquet and then I'll bring it back in here and make it. So look, you see, a bucket of flowers, just one, and my hedge. Somebody just made a comment and said this is the worst hedge they've ever seen, and that my hedge laying leaves a great deal to be desired. I made a clip about laying this hedge a couple of winters ago. Anyway, the hedge is really happy, despite the fact that somebody says that it's rubbish hedge laying. The point of hedge laying for me is to make habitat, number one, but also provide an edge to a space. And if I had livestock here, then actually they would be held in by this hedge. So the point of the hedge for me has been achieved. Obviously, the person who's made cross comments about my lack of hedge laying expertise on the other clip has strong feelings, but I'm very pleased with my hedge. No, it is not expert hedge laying, but it does the job that I wanted it to do. And the other thing I quite like about this hedge is that when I first planted it, I put this little copper beech in. So this is about 10 years old, and it's really struggled because the land here is very wet and not quite limey enough for it. But since we laid the hedge and we made space for the copper beech, it is, if not flourishing, it is suddenly finding its way up. So I'm very pleased with the copper beech. This is not natural copper beech country here at Common Farm in this part of Somerset, because it prefers a slightly drier, better drained place with slightly limier soil. But we have 2 copper beeches here now, just doing quite nicely. Anyway, beech schmeech, hedge schmedge. Let's move on and go back to the studio, because that's the point of this clip. So you can see the point of the exercise was that I would have somewhere in the middle of the land where I could, instead of having to walk so far, I could bring my harvest back, as you can see, as a modest harvest today. And I wouldn't have to walk so far. So already I'm not walking so far. And I could leave my bucket in the shade here with all the other mess while I go and cut the other one. So look, I brought everything up to the studio. I still can't get a straight line. I know. The reason I think I can't get a straight line is because that actually my tripod hasn't got any straight. I should get a steadier tripod. My tripod is very, very inexpensive from Amazon. It was £35 and it came with the little clicker that also doesn't work very well, the remote. Anyway, so here is my new design space. I must say, I just feel like it's my size. And look, can you hear my shouting family, my husband? I mean, he doesn't generally swear much, but you know, sometimes you get people rah, shouting. None of that happens up here. So I can relax. I've got the doors open. Chill. Right, I'm going to make an arrangement, and I hope you enjoy. You can watch me do it. I'll put some music on. Obviously, for all of my formal, demonstrations and workshops, please look at the website where you get detailed demonstrations on how to do things in workshops and demos. So I'll just make it and you can see what I'm doing, and then we'll have a chat at the end. Oh my God, miracle. I just had a little play with the tripod and I've made it straighter. See, all I had to do was move up the field. The other good thing is you'll notice this piece of furniture, which I often use as my demo base. The reason it has a hole in the middle is it used to belong to somebody who had a woodworking workshop. And so what they used to do is they could bring the wire for an electric piece of equipment through the middle so that it was useful. They could have then, some big bodging lathe or something on top here. So that's why there's a hole in the middle. And one day I'd love Fabrizio to fill that hole because it always looks untidy. But all the years I had it down at the studio, it was facing the other way. And this may not, you think, well, so it's exactly the same, but not quite. Because do you see my stool? So when I sit and work, I sit and work on the other side. And my stool can now be tucked underneath because the place where the gap is I can just push it under. And that was made by the friend whose workshop we cleared out one day when he moved for himself, for his stool. And I didn't even realise that until we moved up here. So it's, you know, it's always worth completely rearranging things because then you realise how something works. you know, life tip for life. Now I've put the lights on. Lights are nice. They're very gentle. Woo. Ceiling spots. Much better lighting than the old studio. The old studio, the lighting went up because it was strip lighting. Because we had to work with the beams, and you know we couldn't sort of do it properly. But because we've made the ceiling, we've been able to put the spots in. So it's a nice light, ambient light. Right, enough chat. I'm going to do my normal thing. I'm going to move you round. Diddly 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 dee. Look at that. It's not tidy and it's not finished, but we're getting there. And I've got some lovely warm, high summer colour. And I'm going to make, including some wonderful dock. Would you look at the movement in that dock and the colour? Look at the rusty colour, love it. So I'm going to make a piece for number 1 Bruton, and you can just watch me make it as we go. I'll go and get the jug. I'll try not to put my back to you too much. I'll show you more closely. Oh, I love these hot, high summer colours. I cut some ammi and I took it out. I didn't want any white in there. And there it is, on the waste not want not, that piece of furniture. And you can't see the windows either side. If I go back, you'll see the windows. But the idea is, that's the photograph. I love that. That's unfinished plaster background. It's very, very good, I think, with flowers. So I must take a picture. So there you have my new studio. It is not finished. It's still very echoey. We're going to do something about that. There are plenty of shelves to go up, and actually the running water. There's no running water yet, but as is often the case with building works, after a while you just have to move in. The way to get people to finish a job is to move in. So I've moved in because I got the Wi-Fi, and so I can work up here. And I am already absolutely loving the space, and I'm loving the quiet. And I think I'm so lucky. I'm really, really lucky to have this spot. And now all I have to do is pay for it. So thanks very much for watching. And if you've kindly watched all the ads, then you will be really helping. And I hope you like the new studio. Do put comments. I answer all the comments on my YouTube. So do put comments if you have something to say. It isn't finished. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, see you soon. Bye.